Hello, World of Tank Blitzers, and hopefully a few future mumrads. Hey, I'm Littlefinger, and today doing a full tank review on the Crusader. You can see it here in the garage. It is a British Tier 5 light tank. Looks pretty good. Has some nice gun depression. Very low damage per shot, but does have a high DPM. Armor's not great. And mobility is not great either. This is not one of my favorite tanks to drive. Let's just take a quick look at the tech tree. You can see it here. We are down towards the bottom. The Crusader takes you up to the Cromwell, Comet, Centurion, Cent 7.1, and the FE 4202. All of these tanks specialize in good mobility, very, very accurate guns that don't do a lot of damage. But have very good penetration numbers, but just a low damage number for all of those guns there. But I will say they are fun to drive, and they're all very good tanks. Looking at the characteristics here, you can see you'll start off with a Tier 4 turret, which only has 39 millimeters of frontal armor. You'll want to quickly upgrade that to the 51 on the second turret. The gun that it first comes with will be this 2-pounder, which only has 82 millimeters of pen. You'll quickly want to upgrade it to the 6-pounder. 110 millimeters of pen on this gun can hold its own at Tier 5 and 6, but certainly if you're down here in the 80s, you're going to struggle. So quickly upgrade your gun, and finally you'll get to the 6-pounder Mark V, which has an extremely high rate of fire, 20 rounds per minute, with a nice penetration numbers of 137, but only does 90 damage per shot. Looking at consumables here, I'm running repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. Provisions, I am running pudding and tea. Oh, sounds good. Protective kit and improved fuel. Ammunition, running 44 rounds of AP, 14 of APCR. Don't forget you can change that to credits here with the button on the right. And only 7 rounds of HE, as our pen numbers down there, between 11 and 20 is pretty poor. Looking at equipment, I am running calibrated shells. That'll get your penetration numbers up a little bit with a new update, with us getting 5% additional for AP and APCR. So running improved modules, primarily for the ammo rack durability and damage against ramming over the defense system. Again, because I typically try to protect my crew with repair kits. And running improved optics, which will get our visibility, our view range up to 275 over the camo net. Again, this is a Tier 5 tank. This is certainly not my favorite Tier 5, so I'm not going to spend any additional spare parts on this tank. I think this is kind of a toss-up. Dropping the aim time with enhanced gun lane drive is always a good idea. Enhanced armor, but we don't have much armor on this tank, so I'll go with approved assembly, get us 45 additional hit points. And if I were to go with improved control, or the engine accelerator, I'd probably go with the improved control, just because I like to get that additional traverse speed. Moving down, vertical stabilizer is going to drop our aim time even more. Enhanced tracks and consumable delivery system. Okay, here we are on blitzstars.com using Tank Compare. You can see I've got the Crusader lined up here on the left, the AMX ELC, the French light, the VK 1602 Leopard, the German light, the M24 Chaffee, the US light, and the M7 medium as our tanks to compare it to. And you look at our damage per minute, we are well above all of these other tanks, but unfortunately being able to maximize your damage per minute means that you're going to have to keep yourself exposed out in the open quite frequently, and that typically doesn't work out with a tank like this that doesn't have very good armor. So it's very difficult to maximize that DPM and get anywhere close to that. So 130 penetration, like I said before, that is top in class. It is very good. You won't have much problem with even tier 6 tanks. Looking at the alpha, we're only doing 90 damage per shot, which is pretty horrible compared to, say, 160 for the other tanks there. Rate of fire is very high, which is why we have such a high DPM. Only a 3-second reload time. So again, you're going to be exposed quite frequently in order to shoot that often. It's only a 57 millimeter caliber gun versus 75, 76 on the other tanks there. Shell velocity is one of the lowest. Does come into play only on long range across the map shots, so you really won't notice that too much. Looking further down into weapon handling, you can see we're right in the middle there with 2-second aim time. Dispersion is the best in class at 0.30, and you can see here one of the nice things about this tank is the negative 12 degrees of gun depression versus 5 and 10 and 8 on the M7 there. So we certainly have an advantage. This is a good hills tank, getting hull down certainly. Then if we look at movement and mobility, and this is what really hinders this tank in my opinion, only 44 kilometers per hour, so it's certainly not fast and nimble like these other ones that can get you into and out of trouble quickly. So you need to play a little bit more cautiously on the edges with this tank. Pretty much standard numbers there. You can see 451 horsepower, powder rate 23.17 horsepower to tons. Moving down to credit coefficients here, you'll see 131. It's pretty good. View range is the worst in class there at 253. We do have the highest hit point total at 690. And looking at our hull armor of 32, it's better than the AMX and the M24, but 32 millimeters at tier 5 and tier 6 is nothing. And then at 51 on your turret is one of the best in class, but again, tier 5 and tier 6, they're going to be blowing through you. You look at the win rate there, it's one of the worst at 56.76. Average damage right in the middle. So use these as your barometer for what to aim for, and try to beat these numbers. Average kills per game just over 1, kills per death 1.8. So doesn't have a very good survival rating there either. So I just think this goes to show you that this tank is just average, nothing special. Okay, so I just want to quickly run through blitzhanger.com. Really nice layout, great site. Go check those guys out. You can see here I've got it configured the way I'm running it. On the right you can see hit point 690, we are 1 out of 4 as far as the light tanks go. View range, we are 3 out of 4, so we're close to the bottom. Damage per minute, we are best in class, so is our penetration numbers. But as far as damage per shot, you can see we're quite close to the bottom. Again, rate of fire is very high. Reload time is only 3 seconds, best in class. Some good gun handling. You can see here a lot of green. Mobility is 3 out of 4. Like I said, that's kind of to me the biggest weakness of this tank. Moving down to their armor profile, and this is what I was getting at. You can see here what I'll do. It's currently, you can see nothing but red from all sides, front, side, and back for tier 6. We'll drop it down to tier 5, and it's pretty much the same. We'll even drop it down to tier 4, And you can see just standard AP rounds all have more than a 70% chance of penetrating you. From a light tank has 93%. So you're not going to be blocking many shots with this tank. So keep that in mind. And then looking at the tactics in this, they're basically saying that it's good for peekaboo and it's okay one-on-one when you're in a tier 6 battle. When you're in top tier, peekaboo is good. Long range sniping is average, and 1v1 is also good. So those are kind of your tactics for playing this tank, but I'll show you more as we get into some gameplay here. First game here on Mirage. We are bottom tier, and actually only one of two tier 5s. So on Mirage, especially when in a medium or light tank like this, I typically make it a habit to push straight to the middle here and use this bush for extra camouflage and just peek over enough that I can get some spots in. And I can take one shot and back down before getting spotted. So I've identified basically for our team that they are all going waterfall side. But I'm going to be patient. I've got some flankers to the right of me there. And I am just trying to make sure that I stay on the outside of the map. If I had to push, say, straight into the middle, that SU that just got killed, there would have been this SU-100 looking down at me. So I've played it cautiously. I'm staying on the outside, and this is where you can really see this quick reload. We're only doing about 80 damage per shot. Unfortunately, that VK gets in front of us, but we still get the kill shot with such a quick load. There's two guys now sitting on the hill here. Basically just pulling forward just enough to get my turret over and popping in a few shots. He gets one shot in. I know I can get 2 shots to his 1, so we'll go ahead and shoot 2. He's not looking at me, so we'll get another one in there. And now we've got this T-14. This tank's got some good armor. And you can see we are just putting this in without problem. He's going to back off. Still a pretty close game. We are down a tank. And unfortunately, we aim a little bit high there and bounce that shot. Kuro's another tank with some good armor. And we just completely missed that shot. But he saw it. He was moving in below the hills, so I wanted to get in and help our KV2. He's circling him. And you can see how fast we put these shots into the backside there. 3 quick shots, and we are now up. Only 1 tank left, the BDR, so we will head over the hill here. Obviously another tank with good armor. Just a bad shot there, really. But we get this first one to go in, and he'll start to turn. He turns just enough that we miss that shot. But we get the final shot and kill number 3. So even as bottom tier, you can see from a penetration standpoint, the tank does not have problems. So you just got to pay it cautiously. It's 1584 damage, level 1, 3 kills. Oh, we did the most damage there. 19 shots penetrated. So you can see you have to shoot a lot. You have to expose yourself a lot, which makes playing the tank difficult. Alright, here's another game. It's actually bottom tier, but mostly all tier 5s. Gonna push right. And you can see how much faster this Leopard is than us. Another tier 5 light. So he's pushed almost around to the corner. We're still in the river here. Guy's making an aggressive move on the PZ-54. He's got some good angle, and if it's angled well, It's tough to penetrate, so want to make sure I get myself at a little bit more of a hold down position. So I'm gonna come down to this ridge here and see that this Crusader is sticking out a little bit too much. So we'll get 2 quick shots into him and finish him off. Wolverine is sitting there. We take a little shot from the Leo. Wolverine is now a 1-shot, so I'm not too worried if I take a shot or 2 here. We'll get the kill. And you can see how I'm using the side of the hill there to help with my gun elevation or depression. Missed that shot on the Leo, but I'm banking up the side of the hill to help get the gun down, and then taking my shot and pulling back. Just barely missed that shot. These 2 guys have pushed in hard on the Leo. And we'll get a shot into the backside and set him on fire for our kill number 3. And coming over the hill here, bounce a little bit and miss that first shot. Drop the adrenaline because we're kind of in a pinch. Make him miss. Take my shot and drop down, and just have enough to get the gun elevation to get kill number 4. And it was a very good team game. So damage was only 854, but we did get 4 kills. It was good for a level 2 mastery badge. And you can see we were actually top of the team there. Okay, so let's take a look at how this tank performs as top tier here on Yamato Harbor. One of the things I like to do is push right. There's a lot of hills. It's really good for a tank like the Crusader with our good gun depression. So we'll push right and we'll be a little patient, and already we've spotted one. He's doing a good job minimizing the target that I have to shoot at. And I'm just taking some pot shots, hoping for the best. Trying to stay as low as possible, not exposing very much of the tank whatsoever. And it's about this point in time you start to get a little bit frustrated, and it can affect your gameplay. Finally get our first shot in there. And I decide to go ahead and push forward to take a shot. And here we're going to come around the corner, use our nice gun depression, get a shot here in on the T-67. And really like this tank when you can get shots in like this quickly. And we make quick work of the T-67. We were behind those rocks, so we were protected. These guys have dropped off, so I want to go and light them back up. There's an SU down there. Took a big shot from him. I know I can reload faster than him, so I'm trying to get 2 or 3 shots in there before backing up. We've got a Matilda coming our way. Finish off the SU and start work here on the PZ. Matilda's turned sideways to us. But you can see one of the nice things, when you get the opportunity to shoot and shoot often, this tank is nice. So we'll finish him off. Battle's still pretty even at this point in time. And I've taken a few shots, so I'm trying to stay alive. Not sure if that KV-1 is pointed at me, so I'm taking it a little bit cautiously. Looks like he's backed up enough. We've got shots on the M3 Lee. I'm going to push around the edge here, see if we can't get behind these guys. T25, get a nice shot into him, finish him off for kill number 4. And here's M3 Lee. And you can see on the side of a KV, no problem whatsoever penetrating. When he starts to angle, we do get a little bit of problem. Want to make sure that he's focused elsewhere. You can see the tank does move fairly well. It's just not as mobile as, say, the Leo. So now we're getting behind the KV. Make sure we get these shots in. And we worked the edge of the map. We did 1,706 damage with 4 kills. That was good for a mastery badge in the tank. "21 shots landed there. And you can see we did damage to every tank on the team. So here we are on Dead Rail as top tier. Going to push left. Try to take the hill. You can see here 45 kilometers per hour. Our nice gun depression will let us get into a position like this where we're not showing much of the tank. They've been spotted in the middle, so I'm going to push around onto this rock here. And you can see I take my shot and back up, pull forward, take my shot, back up again. Get a little bit too low there on the AMX. And we bounce. Take a big shot there and I get blocked. Oh, pet peeve right there. Guy driving backwards and blocking me. So we'll focus here on the AMX 40. He's now giving us his attention, so we'll back up. He misses. And we miss as well. But you can see nice accuracy on this gun. Allows us to finish him off. Just going to try to get behind this rock here, minimize the amount of area that we're showing. Don't want to expose too much. We'll get kill number 2. So we've got Crusader down there and another one in the middle. So my goal here was just to keep to the outside of the map. Again, not all of their tanks have been spotted, so I'm not exactly sure where they are. Kind of rushed that shot there. So you're gonna come back around. You bet. Kill number 3. So there's 2 of the spotted. KV1's in the middle, near cap circle. And I'm not sure if this guy's AFK or not. But pen's so low you can't do anything on the backside there with HE, so we'll stay with AP. And from a distance here, it's quite a lucky shot on the KV. Just gonna move in. Not sure where their last guy is yet. Figure he is hiding down in the corner. Just gonna speed it up here because he actually wasn't in the corner. So we are going to circle the map and end back at our spawn here in a second. So the T-67 finally pops up, and he is looking behind us, and we missed that first shot. And we're just going to drop adrenaline here and try not to trade shots with him too much. Obviously, we have a damage per minute advantage on him, so we can probably survive that out, which we do, for kill number 4. And in this game we end up doing 2,087 damage, good for a level 1 mastery. "25 shots landed," and you can see again we shot every single tank in the game. So here is one last clip I wanted to show, which really exemplifies the accuracy of this gun. We are mopping up this team, and there's just a T-25 left. See, we get that shot between the rocks. We get another one before he goes behind those rocks. There's a third shot in a row at over 300 meters. We missed that one, but finish him off with 3 out of 4 shots there on a moving target. So that's one of the nice things with this tank. If you can get yourself hull down and able to shoot frequently without being return fired upon, you will dish out some damage. You can see there we did over 1,200 damage in that game as top tier. So you know, my advice on this tank is play it on the outside of the maps. Definitely don't get yourself caught in the middle, kind of ambush style. Make sure you're using the hills and that nice gun depression, and just try to set yourself up to use that high rate of fire gun with the very good damage penetration, that is. So anyway, it's kind of a fun tank, but certainly not my favorite at the tier. So hopefully you guys have learned something from this review, and remember, have fun out there. It's just a game, and get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.